What the hell is an Asym?
What the hell is an Asym? Is there anyone out there that truly knows? We're huge fans of surfboards out here in the Mentawai, but we've yet to run across a human being on planet Earth that can properly explain what an Asym is and what it truly does. Can you only ride it frontside? Does it go backside? Can a goofy foot and regular foot ride the same board? Why does the tail look like that? What's up with the nose? To be completely honest, we're in the same boat as everyone else and literally have no idea what the hell an Asym is. And it wasn't until our favorite goofy foot pilot, William Aliotti, rocked up last year with an odd looking 5/8 asymmetric surfboard that our interest truly piqued. William spent almost all of last year around the world with this single weird looking 5/8 asymmetric surfboard at places like Namibia, Mundaka, Canary Islands, and Chile, but it didn't really click for us until he rocked up to the Mentawai last year. On his very first session, he did the best high performance surfing we've seen him do, and then on the very next day, he packed his bomb at Kandui left, which left us scratching our heads with what the hell is up with Asyms. Shortly after, we asked William to go back to his shaper, Ryan Lovelace, and work on a 3-board asymmetric quiver that was specifically made for our goofy season, the best time of the year to score pumping lefts in the Mentawai. When William returned back to us, he was ecstatic with his 3-board asymmetric quiver and ready to rock. Like us, William didn't know much about Asyms, other than he loved them of course, so he dragged along his shaper Ryan Lovelace so we could finally find out what the hell is an Asym.
Asyms all look really radically different. There's a lot of takes on them, but if you really boil it down to a handful of similarities within them, a lot of it goes back to Carl Ekstrom's work. Almost all of it does. Generally, you're going to have a longer, straighter toe side for generating speed, a shorter, rounder heel side for controlling that speed. In the same way, your rails on your toe side are usually going to be a little more down and thin, so they skate and release. Your heel side is going to be a bit rounder and doughier, so that they grip the water and control that speed. Rocker-wise, there's a lot of different takes on rocker within Asyms, but generally your heel side is going to have a flip in it, so it can also control all that speed and slow it down, where your toe side is going to be a bit flatter and skatier to make speed. So the whole thing, every square inch of your Asym is being designed around both creating speed and controlling speed. Fins, same. You're basically taking your forehand fin, your toe side fin, and it's going to be a little farther back, where your heel side fin or fin set, if there's multiple, is going to be a little more forward. So you've got looseness on your heel side and speed on your toe side.
And we're back to Kandui, one of the best places in the world, the best playground to try out surfboard. I'm so happy to be back here. It's actually insane. Thank you guys. Last year I went to all around the world trying out this prototype that Ryan made me. It's called the Satellite. It's an asymmetrical board. And that board actually blew my mind how good it was on those crazy waves like Namibia, Chile, in the Canary Islands. And I actually ended up in Kandui, which it was insane to try out there in like crazy condition, like hideaway 6 foot and overhead, double overhead Kandui. This thing actually hold. It was insane. A couple months ago, I went to see Ryan to find out the perfect quiver that will fit all those waves. So we end up like going on this quiver right there. So this is the original board, the Satellite, which is 5/8, and that thing followed me last year all over the world. and it was insane. Like, there's nothing to say on this board, it's super good. We made a small version here, it's a 5.6. It's called the Surfboard. It's super spicy, that's why we call it like that. It's super skaty and reactive. It goes super good around 3 to 6 foot wave. Super sick. And we made it like a satellite version, tweak and stuff, but we call it the showboard. It's got the cut nose right there. It's insane at the paddle. It's gonna be really good in big condition, like double overhead Kandui. This board just wants to go forward and so fast. It's actually fast now. Like, I've tried a couple waves, like either way recently, and there's a swag coming to Kandui in a couple days, and I can't wait to try that on. So let's see how it goes.
First up, in the 3-board asymmetric quiver is the Lovelace Satellite. The Satellite is what we consider a daily driver and fills the area that a normal shortboard does for the Mentawai. This basically translates into a board that you can ride in rippable head-high surf all the way up to double overhead barrels. We sat down with Ryan to pick his brain on what the Lovelace Satellite does, break down all the details, and also explain why the Satellite is an ideal daily driver for perfect surf.
So this is the Satellite, which was the first Asym that William and I worked on. Off of the back end of all the fish variations we did, William wanted something more shortboardy, more aggressive, and to basically work into something that can take the flow and the progression that he's gotten off of the fishes into like a shortboard platform. So the Satellite was the first experiment in Asyms between us, and at this point, this 5.8 version, this is the 4th version of that same board, and that board really was kind of magic from the get-go. Design-wise on the Satellite, kind of basics. First things first, when you measure any Asym, generally they're measured from tip of the nose to the longest point on the tail. So Williams one's 5.8 on the toe side. Heel side, more like 5.6 or so. Generally, bottom shape-wise, what we're doing with these is running a pretty heavy single all the way from up, way in the tip of the nose, running back through the front half of the board. Right behind center, kind of right between your feet, it transitions with a little bit of a spiral V. So what that's all doing is channeling and funneling a lot of water in the front end and flattening the rocker, so you've got a ton of speed, a ton of drive. And then the back end, that spiral V, that little bit of double right between your feet and under your back foot, is helping that board rock onto rail and roll. So if you watch some of Williams' approaches, you'll see a lot of like fluid shifting rail to rail, and that's all that double spiral V going on right there. There's a tiny bit of flat out the tail for kind of pop and explosiveness, but a pretty simple bottom. It's one we've been doing a lot with William for a while. That's just a ton of down the line speed and then smooth, powerful control on your back foot. One of the more interesting things on the bottom shape is the toe side of these boards, and this runs through all of Williams' Asyms. It's this long flat panel running from about the trailing edge of the fin or a little farther back up the toe side, and that's basically flattening the toe side rocker so it's not as sticky and you can skate and generate a ton of speed off of that. So you're basically engineering everything in the toe side for skate and down the line speed, everything on the heel side for grip and control and wrapping. Same thing goes with the rails. Toe side rail is going to be a lot thinner and more down, so again, skating, speed. And then your heel side rail is softer and rounder, so it can hold all that speed and translate that on rail. So the fin that Will's been riding on these, he's been working with Captain on, and it's a pretty swept template with the inside foil, which gives it quite a bit of extra drive. The goal being a fin that you can get a ton of speed and hold down the line, but also stop and pivot in the pocket to take vertical. These days with twins, you're asking for a lot more performance than old school twins. So this fin is going to deliver a lot of drive, a lot of hold, but still the ability to release that when you want to slide. I mean, if you're designing a stock board or you have just a board, I don't know if you've ever had a moment where you're like, this board is really sick going in a straight line, but it doesn't turn for shit. Or this board feels insane in the pocket, but once I'm out on the shoulder, it stops moving. A lot of those things come from compromise in your design with a symmetrical board. With Asyms, you don't have to compromise anymore. You can basically make that board that felt really good in the pocket, you can combine that with the board that felt really good on the shoulder, and all of a sudden, your singular board is doing all the things and hitting all the notes that you want it to.
Up next, in the 3-board asymmetric quiver, is the Lovelace Zombo. The Zombo is what we consider a step-down board that fills the area that a small wave groveler does for the Mentawai. This basically translates to a board that you ride for the sessions under head high and for the days in between swells. A very important board for a trip to the Mentawai. This board keeps you stoked on the fun size days while you wait for the barrels. We sat down with Ryan to pick his brain on what the Lovelace Zombo does, break down all the details, and also explain why just after one session, William said he felt like he knew the Zombo his entire life.
So this one is the newest experiment gone right. We've been calling it a sunball. It basically comes off of William's last year here with the satellite and trying to work from that platform into something that's a little bit better for small waves and that's going to be real sparky and bright, a little more skatey. Outline wise, it's got a lot of the same basic tenements. Long and straight on the toe side with a hip at the toe side fin. So that's going to keep you generating speed, but then also pivoting and working up the face really easily. It's not going to fight you in that moment. The toe side's 5'6" on this one. The heel side's about 1.5 inches shorter, so 5'4.5" more or less. All of that's going to basically mean you've got a longer, faster toe side and then a shorter, quicker, brighter heel side. Bottom shape wise, again, we've got a pretty heavy single on the front third. The bigger difference between this and the satellite is this one's going to carry a lot more double concave, which is going to keep the board more on top of the water and running rail to rail quicker. So more skatey, more on top of the water, and better for small stuff. Just like the satellite, it's got that long, flat toe side panel running from about the fin up. And again, that's to keep the board skatey and loose and not sticky. On your front side for generating speed. The heel side does not have that. It just has the concave running out up to the apex of the tuck, and that's going to hold all that speed that you made. So everything about this board is about generating speed on your toe side and then harnessing that speed on the heel side while still being really compact and skatey.
Whatever you think
Okay, the number one thing that I hear about Asyms is people wondering if they only go one way. Everybody stops and says, oh, but if I get that board, can I only go left? The thing about an Asym is it's not designed to go left or right. It's designed whether you're a goofy or a regular footer. So all of the things on an Asym are beneficial on your front side and back side. All of that speed generation on your toe side going front side is also super nice when you're going backside and you want to wrap a big powerful turn. All of that roundness, the extra rocker, maybe the deeper concave on your heel side is also super beneficial when you're in the pocket and you want to wrap and come up the face without having to fight your board. Everything in these boards is designed about whether you're goofy or regular, no matter which way you're going. The rail shape is the same. Lower on your toe side because you have a more sensitive approach on your toes, and more forgiving and control oriented on your heel side because you have less sensitivity on your heel. Everything on these boards is about whether you are goofy or regular, not whether you're going left or right.
Up next, in the 3-board asymmetric quiver, is the Lovelace shovel. The shovel is what we consider a step-up board that fills the area that a traditional longer, narrower step-up gun does for the Mentawai. This basically translates into a board that you ride when the surf turns very serious with double overhead plus barrels. You don't ride this board much when you visit the Mentawai, but when you do, it usually results in some of the best waves of your life. We sat down with Ryan to pick his brain on one of his most creative designs yet, break down all the details, and also see if his theory can translate into function.
Okay, the shovel. This board is working off of Will's last season with the satellite, trying to go a little more into the step-up realm. Funnily enough, going into the step-up realm for me meant going smaller. What I wanted to do is make a more compact, torquey power surfing board for Will for tighter waves like Namibia and Kandui and really round small pockets. So what I did was keep the outline really straight and really long. The board only measures 5'6" on the long side of the toe side, more like 5'4" on your heel side. But this chopped nose lets me run a straighter, longer rail line in the front half of the board. So I can basically get an outline on the board that more acts like a 5'10" or 6'0" instead of 5'6". So we've got a balance in the outline like an actual step up, but the compactness of a much smaller board. Bottom shape wise, very similar to the satellite in that we run a big single from the tip of the nose back through the front half. In this board, I just kept that single going. And what that does is keep a really flat, broad centerline rocker, essentially making it really torquey, really power surfing oriented, and really, really fast. There's a little bit of a flat spot in the tail, and I wanted that fastness, which also equates to stickiness very often, to release at some point. So the flatness in the tail back here also lets Will get some pop and some slide in, since that's key in things that he likes. There is also in this board that same long flat panel on the toe side, and that's just to get that skate speed and that down the line speed going without a whole lot of stickiness. Again, it's a through line between all three of these boards and most asymmetrical boards that I shape. The heel side gets that single cupping all the way up to the rail, so you've got speed generation on your toe side and then speed control on your heel. Rail shape wise, the rails are pretty low on both sides of this board, really low and down on your toe side, and the heel side's low but it's still rounder, so you've got a little bit less hard edge and a little bit more tuck going on, and all of that is again to create speed and then control it. So fins wise on the shovel, similar to the other boards, We're running the same fin template, which is really bassy and really powerful, but with some sweep in the tip, and that's going to let you take that speed and wrap it, but with not so much tip that you can't break that wrap loose. So for William surfing, it lets him be powerful, fast down the line, controlling when he wants to carve, but also really free with a lot of release in the lip. Fin positioning wise on this board, also similar in that I've kicked the heel side forward about a 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, and that follows suit with basically the heel side of the board being shorter, means everything shifts up, and the toe side being longer, it's going to shift back a little bit. That also basically creates a singular spot for your back foot, more or less. So when your foot's planted, your toe side is generating speed because your fin's a little farther back behind your foot, and in that same position, your heel side is farther up, so it's going to be looser and it's going to be more free. So you've got a bunch of speed and then a bunch of maneuvering and control.
Don't hold your breath. The